All right, so what I'm going to do as we run through this assignment is I'm just going to grab all the requirements and actually put it inside of our JavaScript file so I don't have to keep going back and forth here. All right, let's grab this guy, go to my little file, paste it in. Got all kinds of red. Why am I getting red? Anyone? Is that valid JavaScript syntax? All right, yeah, looks pretty good, right? All right, so let's look at the tasks that we need to do. We need to create a card class, and a card should have the following functionality. Each card should have a suit. Each card should have a string value. Each card should have a numerical value. Each card should have a show method. Okay, and then deck class comes after that. So let's get this knocked out, this card class. This should be pretty simple, right? So in ES6, what we can do is we can create a new class, and we'll just call it card. All right. Now, what is the method that I use for initializing? So we're going to use a constructor. All right. And then I want to take in these different things that I'm going to set. So it's going to have a suit. It's also going to have a, I guess we'll just call it string. Fair enough. And then a numerical value. So we'll say number. Anything else here? That's it, right? Okay, cool. So let's just create this, and then to attach it to this instance, we just say this.suit equals suit. Oops. This.string equals string. This.number equals number. All right. Good deal. And then we need to have a show method, log the card's information to the console. So we'll go like this. And then I'm going to say console.log. I'm just going to output these guys unless you guys have issues with that. Do you want me to actually say anything in there?
It's fine. I did backticks and then they did strings.
Yeah, look at you, fancy.
Backticks and curly brackets and dollar signs.
Yeah.
Fancy pants.
Oh my.
That's awesome.
Alright, so let's just create a card to make sure this is working. So we'll say const card equals new, so the new keyword, card. And then we're passing it in some suit, so I'll just say clubs, a string, and we'll say it's the 5 of clubs, and then the number is going to be 5 as well.
I
Okay.
think you have to say like 5, like spell out 5.
Where?
Like F-I-V.
F-I-V
Number 5
for
is?
the
Yeah,
number
the
5.
string.
Oh, fine. Jesus. Man, you're strict.
You're supposed to make 52 instances of the deck.
Hey, have we even made a deck? Slow down, my man.
They
All right, no, yeah, one thing at a time. All right. So let's. What we're gonna do is we're gonna try out our show method. Bless you. All right. So console.log, and then we'll say card.show. All right, and then to run this guy, let's run it with NodeMon, so that way we don't have to keep redoing it. As we make changes, it's gonna happen for us. So no. Oh, yeah,
Wait,
good.
how do we install NodeMon again? Before we install Node, do we have to do that? Can we do that?
Yeah, install.
Yeah, exactly. So what you're going to do is you're going to say npm install, and then you're going to say -g to do it globally, and then you just say NodeMon.
Just in my little thing. My
Yes.
Do you mean a terminal? In that little thing.
My npm,
Alright.
npm NodeMon
npm space install,
space I, right?
and then space -g, or yeah, I if you're gonna go with the shorthand.
G.
-g, and then space NodeMon.
Sweet.
No demon. Yeah.
Uh,
Alright, so here we go. We've got clubs 5 and 5. So we're pretty good on that, right? Working as expected. Good. We can move on. So let's get down here. We need to create a deck class. A deck should have the following functionality. We have to have the 52 standard cards, should be able to shuffle, and should be able to reset. Okay, deal a random card. Alright, let me space this out so our player's down there. Okay, so let's create this deck class. Class deck. And again, to initialize a new deck, what am I going to do? I'm going to have a constructor, right? Good deal. And then we need to create some functionality here. Okay, so it's going to contain 52 standard cards, but I also notice here on line 32 that I'm going to have to be able to reset my deck. Right? What if we kind of cheat a little bit, and with this reset method, we actually call that inside of our constructor? So that way we'll just have one method that creates all the cards for us, and we don't need to sort of rebuild the wheel. We'll just reuse that functionality. So let's come up in here, and we'll just say that we're gonna run that when we create an instance of the class. So we're gonna say this dot reset. Okay. Actually, I'm going to do one other thing. I'm just going to say this dot cards equals an empty array. And then once I reset it, I'll actually have cards that have values and such, right? Okay, cool. So let's go create a reset method. Doesn't really need to take anything in, right? I'm just going to do some looping and create some different cards. All right. So let's just have some suits in here. So we'll say suits is just going to be an array. Strings, right? So we'll have clubs, diamonds, oops, hearts, Hursts, spades. Okay, and then we'll have the different card values. So let's say, was that me?
I'll send you the pre-written constant, like pre-written array, so you don't have to.
Oh, thank you, man. What a guy. Oh, look at this. We have card numbers. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's fair enough. Are you guys going to make me do the values too, though? Because I just want to do it with card numbers, unless you really... Is this okay? You want the values? Because it's going to make the demo take longer, and it's not really an essential part of it, you know? Now, if you're clamoring for it, I'll do it, but... Alright.
I didn't know our mantra was strength and laziness.
It is now.
Kidding.
Yeah, man, things are changing. All right, so let's do this. So let's just create an array. So we'll just say const cards equals some empty array, and then I'm going to loop through what I've got here, so the suits and also the card numbers, so that I can create all the cards that I need. Okay, so we'll do a basic for loop. Let I equals 0, I is less than suits.length. Oops. I plus plus. Okay, and then we can do the same thing for the cards themselves. So we'll say j equals 0, j is less than card number. Oh, I don't like that. I like it to be card numbers.
Why do we even need the part numbers? Can we just use the J and then do it less than 15?
Absolutely true. Yeah, let's just do that. Yeah, so let's do less than or equal to 13. Yeah, let me cut that out, actually. Good eye there, Alan. So let's change this to 1. Alright, so we'll go from 1 to 13. And then inside there, what I'm going to do is every single time I create a new card, I'm just going to push it into this array that I created. Okay, so let's go cards dot push, and then I'm going to push in a new card that takes in the different values I need. And since we're not doing the string, I'm going to take that out up here. Let's get rid of this. And I'm just going to change this to value. So value. Alright, so let's go down here. So we're creating a new card, which is going to take in suits, oops, not suites, suits at index of I, and then we're just going to say J in here, right? Now, what do I need to do at the end here? I need to actually say this.cards equals cards, right? Or, yeah, let's do this. Let's just say this.cards equals an empty array, and then we'll just push directly into that. Sound good? All right. That way we don't have to do anything at the end of this whole thing. Oops. Okay, oops. What did I just do? I think I deleted my last... Okay, cool. So let's just create a new deck, and then we'll just check to see what the cards are after we create it, right? Because we called reset inside the constructor, so we should be good there. In fact, we can just dump this now, right? All right, cool. So let's create a new deck. Const deck equals new deck. And then let's just do console.log deck.cards. Okay. Looking pretty good, right? Got all of our cards, all of our 4 suits, and all the cards that we need for each one. All right, what else do we need to do? So we need to be able to shuffle. Yeah, let's come back to that in a minute. All right.
Isn't the reset method just going to add 52 more cards to the deck?
No, because notice how I actually set it to an empty array before we looped. So right there, I just said this.cards is an empty array. So yeah, we'll get there. So let's do deal, right? Deal should return the card that was dealt and remove it from the deck. Okay, cool. So what's our strategy for doing that? Okay, good. And what are sort of the confines of the random number as far as we see it? Not necessarily, right? I mean, in the beginning, yeah, it would be 52. But what about after I've already removed some cards?
That's the decrement, like the available cards.
Yeah, we're going to use the actual length of the card's array at that given time, right, to actually confine our random number. Okay, so let's create this method, deal, and then let's just generate a random number. So we'll say const random equals math.random. Actually, we're going to need to floor this, aren't we? Just like we were doing inside that jQuery Ajax demo. So we need to floor it. And then we're going to multiply some random number times whatever the length of the current card array is. So we'll say this.cards.length. Okay, and that should give me somewhere from 0 all the way up to the last index of the cards that are in the array. And then what we'll do is we want to return it out, which means what we could, there are a couple different ways we could do it. We could do it with a splice method, or we could just concatenate the two sides of it, right? So we could take like the left side, everything before that card, and the right side, everything after that card, and sort of fuse them together using the concat method. Any preference on that? I know what I don't prefer splice. Because then we're essentially mutating the original array, right? Yeah, let's do concat just to practice sort of not mutating something. So let's do const card is going to be what? This dot cards at random, right? Maybe we could change this. We'll just say random index to make it clear what that is. right? So that is the card, and then to take it out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this.cards equals this.cards.slice. I'm going to slice from 0 all the way to that random index. But is the random index being included? No, it is being excluded, right? No, so random index itself, the card that's at random index, is going to be excluded automatically because that's my endpoint. And then I'm just going to concatenate. So we'll say .concat, and then we'll say this.cards.slice from random index +1. Okay, so that should give me everything past that individual card, right? And then what do we want to do at the end? Return it out, right? Okay, so let's return the card. Good. And let's come down here. We've got our deck, and I'm going to comment that out. So let's just, or actually, let's deal like a couple cards. So we'll say deck, or I'm going to console.log deck.deal. And I'll just duplicate that down a few times. And then we'll console. Whoops, I already had it. And then we'll console log the actual cards again to see, make sure they've actually been removed, right? So let's save that there. Come up here, let's see what we got. Oh, what was all this? Clubs undefined.
Huh?
What's that? So we created a deck. We dealt 3 times. Where's this first? Oh, that's this, right? Card.show. Oh, because in my show method I was including something that wasn't there, right? Because I changed that afterwards. Yeah, it does. Okay. Cool. So let's come back here. So now we have clubs 5. Yeah, and then I'll just I'm gonna comment that out because we don't really need that anymore. Okay. All right. So let's see what we got here. We got a 13 of diamonds, an 8 of spades, and a 4 of hearts. And then let's make sure that these guys are gone. So no clubs were removed, but we did have a 4 of hearts that was removed, and it is no longer there, right? And then we also had a 8 of spades that was removed, gone as well. So we go from 7 to 9. All right? Fair enough. Any questions so far?
Why can't we use splice?
I didn't say you can't. I said I didn't want
Oh.
to. No, you can do it that way. Totally. God will not smite you or anything like that. All right, so let's keep going. So the other thing that we needed to create was a shuffle method, right? Was that the last thing on the deck class? All right, so let's create the shuffle method. And how did you guys handle that? Ah, okay. I don't think I'm going to do it. I don't know if I'm going to do it exactly that same way. I'm just going to do it kind of my own way. And then we'll see if that yields similar results, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to loop through things a few times, and then I'm going to go card by card. So again, we're going to use the length of the deck, or the length of the cards array as a guide here. So we'll say 4, and I'll just say I want to do this, I don't know, 4 times. So while I is less than 4, let's increment I. And then in here, let's actually go through all the cards that we have in the deck at this point, right? So we'll say 4, let j equals 0, and then we'll say j is, while j is less than this.cards.length, j plus plus. What I want to do is I want to swap this card that I'm looking at, so this individual card that's at it's going to be at the index of j. with some other random index. And I'll just, so as you can see, we're gonna go through all the core cards 4 times, so that should be sufficiently random, right? Okay, so the same logic that we had up here, I'm just gonna copy it because we already did it, right? We'll grab this, a random index to switch with, and then let's do our old Billy Algos trick. We just want to swap those. He's here, right? Where is he? Is he hiding? All right. So let's do this. So let's say this dot cards at j, and then this dot cards at random index equals the exact opposite, right? So we'll say this dot cards at random index, and then this dot cards at j. All right. So let's come down here and actually shuffle the deck, and let's see what we get here. So we got deck cards. Take out some of these deals. All right. So let's go deck, shuffle. And then again, I'm just going to bring this console log down here because we want to see what the cards look like. So if I go like that, let's see if we're sufficiently randomized here. Diamond, 2 of diamonds, 7 of spades. I don't know. If I want to make it a little more random, obviously I can bump this number up here. Solid 100, yeah. Pretty good. Couple clubs in a row, hearts, clubs, spades. I mean, we're pretty much all over the place, right? So that's good enough on the shuffle. So let's keep going. What else do we need to do? We need to create a player class. Player should have the following functionality. We have to have a name, a hand. All right, cool. So let's do some of this stuff. So I've got class player, structure function, and then we're going to take in name. I guess that's it. All right, so we'll say this dot name equals name. And then the other thing is we're going to have a hand, so an array of cards taken from a deck. So initially, we're just going to have an empty hand, right? He doesn't have any cards. We just created that player. So we'll just say this dot hand, empty array, good. And then we want to have some different functionality here. We want to be able to take a card, use the deck.deal method, and the player should be able to discard a card. All right, so that's fairly simple. So if I have take, what should I pass into the take method? A deck, right? Yeah, I don't want to actually take in the deal function because the deal method because it needs to be connected to an actual instance of a deck. All right. So if I take in a deck, all I need to do is in my hand, I'm just going to say this dot hand dot push, and then I'm going to say deck dot deal in there, right? Because the result of invoking deck dot deal is that I actually get a card back. So I'm just going to push that card directly into his hand. All right. Let's go down here, create a player. I'm going to create player, new player, myself. And then we have a deck already up here, so we already created a deck. So I'm just going to say player.take, and then I'm going to pass in the deck that we created up above. So now let's just log, actually let me comment this out so we don't get mixed up here. So then I'm just going to log what is the player's hand after this point, because we should have a card in there, right? And actually I'll take a few times here. All right, so let's go console.log player.hand. So you can see here my hand has a 3 of hearts, a 6 of hearts, 3 of clubs, 7 of hearts. Pretty much it, right? Okay. So the only other method that we need to write here is discarding a card. Should we be able to choose what card we're discarding? Yes, right? Okay. So what should we take in then? Maybe like an index of that card in the hand? What do you guys want to take in? Okay. How about this? We'll take in an index and then we'll just set like a default index of 0. So if we don't actually pass one in, we'll just get rid of the card at 0 index, right? All right. Let's come here, discard. Takes in an index and then we'll just set it to 0. And then we'll say, and then we actually have to return that card out, right? Did it say that? I guess it didn't specify that, but let's just return the card out. So we'll say const card equals this dot hand at index. And then we're just going to say this dot hand equals this dot hand dot slice from 0 all the way to the index, and then we'll concatenate to that this dot hand dot slice from index plus 1 like that. Okay, and then at the end we're just going to return the card. All right, so after I've taken all these cards, let's go like this. Let's say player dot discard, and then after that, let's just console log the hand as it stands. So my hand should have how many cards left in it? 3, because I took 4, got rid of 1. I should have 3 left. Okay. So the card that we discarded was a 13 of hearts, and then I still had these guys left, 12 of clubs, 9 of clubs, and 11 of hearts. All right. Anything else?
Would it make more sense if, so when doing a card, you just pop the top one, because each game you shuffle the card first, right? So when we pop the top one, it is a render.
True, but what if we didn't shuffle the deck and we started dealing first? Yeah, we could do that. We could take that off. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be any work to do that. Whatever makes the most sense. Yeah. Any other questions about what we did, or did anything not make sense?
It's like every time somebody's getting a player is getting a card, it's only one card, right? What if they own multiple cards?
Well, then you just run that method multiple times, right? Yeah. Yeah, you keep taking from that deck.
There's one question I did have, like in the constructor for the deck, you have the reset, and like, I know it had like, I think I did that too, but I'm not sure like exactly what it's doing when you have that that function inside the constructor.
So this dot reset.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's essentially creating all the cards for us.
Is it creating the cards or? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is, because our reset method is creating new cards, right? So, where was it? Oh, here it is. So in our reset method, notice how every time we loop through, we're creating a new card.
In creating the cards, it also save all those cards into that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nine.
Cool. Stop the video. Thumbs on this? Double thumb up. All right. Ooh. Look at this back there. All right. I like that.
Stop the clock.
Stop the clock!
Yeah, whenever